Hello and welcome to the Bro Chat for the People podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by Iwanadad. I need a sword. Something large, of fine craftsmanship and sturdy, must be able to cleave a moose in half with one or two blows. This is extremely important. I need to arm for my time machine and I can't bring a gun to where I'm going. I don't want to give myself away as a time traveler and I have to fit in. I would prefer something from the Renaissance period as I am trying to save King Louis VIII from being executed. If all goes as planned, the present will change, and I hope you all enjoy not having France as a part of our planet anymore. You're welcome in advance. By the way, this is completely serious and is not a joke. Only serious offers. Please. Thank you. All right, let's go. Okay. Tommy, do we have a good podcast today?
Oh, we have a great podcast, St. Patty's Day edition.
Oh, St. Patty's Day edition, which is why we just played a band of Scottish origin. Shout out to our two Irish dames, Emma Sinnott and Mary Sinnott, who are both in D.C. partying it up, I'm sure, right now.
One of them certainly doesn't listen, the other probably does.
Yeah. Thank you, Mary, and Emma. Get your act together.
We even provide summaries for you, Emma.
Yeah, seriously. In fact, also the summary of the last podcast is also up on our website, brochatforthepeople.com, and it's just hysterical. You guys should really check it out. There's a lot of new content that comes in every day, pretty much.
Yep, it's pretty fun. But this is kind of a funny St. Patrick's Day. I don't remember the last time it was March Madness on St. Patty's Day. I feel like this doesn't happen very
feel like
often.
the tournament usually starts later in March. Yeah. This is interesting.
But pretty kind of interesting tournament so far. Obviously the big win by Yale, which the Bro Chat for the People predicted. Unfortunately, yes. Purdue collapsed and managed to ruin our perfect bracket. Because
no $1 billion for us.
Nope. I don't even know if they're doing that this year.
Probably not, but somebody would have given us something.
But, I mean, of the teams so far, which do you think look best and which do you think look worst?
I think Yale actually really did look good today. They got a strong showing from one of their best players, and they played really well. They kept getting great shots, cutting to the basket, wide open threes. And played some really solid, tough defense on Baylor, and won the rebounding game, which was the biggest surprise because Baylor's one of the top rebounding teams in the country.
I mean, the fundamentals was on point.
Which I guess you can kind of expect from an Ivy League school.
Free throw shooting on point.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Fundamentals, good passing, not a lot of turnovers, no real athletic ability.
Yeah, it's true, but they
did have that one guy. I forget what his name was. He was pretty athletic, though.
Oh, yeah. Oh, shoot, what was his name?
Not Spear, he was...
Spears, yeah.
Spears.
Justin Spears?
Yeah.
I think it was Justin Spears.
He was pretty darn good. He was like the only good player on their team.
Except for the guy who put up 30, Mason something. Or
something Mason, the Hawaiian player.
Masai Mason or Makai Mason. Yeah, the white Hawaiian.
Yeah, it's a Hawaiian name. But, I mean, they're facing off against Duke, who... they didn't look particularly good.
They didn't. They won. They pulled it out.
But they did score 93 points.
I know.
That's pretty crazy.
And then at the same time, though, you got to think they gave up 85 to UNC Wilmington. It's
True.
Wilmington, right?
UNC but those are... I mean, UNC Wilmington scores a lot of points. They run up and down the court and get... I forget what it is, like 40 possessions a game.
Yeah, but this has been a problem for Duke all season, their defense. So, I don't know. I mean, I think Duke is... I'm not going to say Yale's going to upset them next week, but Duke's ripe for an upset, I think. I don't think they're... And they're definitely not going to beat Oregon if Oregon makes it that far.
I think that's fair. I mean, the one thing about Duke is, again, that they had chances to give it up.
Yeah.
But they didn't, and they managed to come through. It's kind of like...
And Duke's a very talented team, don't get me wrong. They've got a lot of great players on that team, Brandon Ingram included, who's projected right now to be the number 2 overall pick in the draft. But it's just never really fit together this season for him. So, but maybe it happens. You know, right, like a couple years ago when Kentucky had all those great players, and then they were an 8 seed and went and won the national championship.
You know who really impressed me,
Or
actually?
did they lose to UConn? Did UConn win that year? It was UConn,
I don't know.
Kentucky.
But speaking of that, you know who really impressed me today?
UConn?
UConn.
Yeah.
I mean, they were down big.
Yeah.
They were down like 10 or 11, I think.
Yeah.
Fears come back and it won pretty decisively.
Yeah.
Made Colorado look silly. And honestly, the most impressive part about their game was the free throw shooting.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they... Even though they were really nervous near the end and they almost blew it, their free throw shooting is what saved them. And a lot of times in this tournament, it's just those last, 6 or 7 free throws that you get at the end of the game if you're up or if you're down that'll determine the course of the game. I would not be shocked. I would not be shocked if they managed to stick in it with Kansas. Mm-hmm. That they could actually upset Kansas. If it's like a 3 or 4, maybe 5-point game in the last 3 minutes, mm-hmm. I can see them pulling it out because they got great handlers and they got great free throw shooting.
Yeah, and that's something that you and I both have agreed on and talked about forever. Is that from what we see, it's usually college free throw shooting. Man,
it's
so
horrible,
important, and the teams more often than not, the teams that have the better free throw shooting game win the game.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, unless you're a completely dominant team.
Yeah. Unless you're Kansas playing, who'd they play today? Or UVA playing Hampton or something.
Yeah. Yeah. What was your favorite game to watch today? How many of them did you watch?
I only caught the. I was working a little bit, so I only caught the end of the.
Sure you were.
Yeah, I was actually, surprisingly, and so I only caught the last 10 minutes of the second half of UConn, Colorado, and then I watched Yale and Baylor, and that was it.
Okay.
Yeah. So
the most entertaining game.
Kind of a lax day for me.
The most entertaining game was until the very end was that Butler Texas Tech game.
Yeah,
they were just running up and down the court, even though they didn't have a particularly high score at the end of the game. But it seemed it was bizarre because they were just running up and down the court and just shooters making shots. Yeah. And it was pretty fun to watch. And
how about that Arkansas at Little Rock and Purdue game when they double OT?
Man, that was a disaster
for Purdue.
Absolutely. That was the first collapse of the tournament. Mm-hmm. And me and Danny came in. When we were doing our bracket together, we were basically 2 out of the 5 12 seeds are going to win.
Yeah.
And we picked Yale to win, and we picked... who was the other one? We picked South Dakota State.
Okay.
To beat Maryland.
Yeah.
But turns out that it was Little Rock, so chances are South Dakota State's not going to win now.
All of a sudden, we've already got our 2-12 upsetting 5s, and
exactly.
The other 2 are going to win. So,
but I mean, that game was the epitome of what March Madness does to better teams.
Oh yeah.
Little Rock was down, I think it was 13 with 3 minutes to go, and they went on a 15-3 run in the last 3 minutes. Mm-hmm. And it was kind of it was just one of those classic games where the guys just stop playing and they try to work clock, and they're facing pressure defense, and the last thing they want to do is turn over the ball, and when all you're thinking is don't turn over the ball, don't turn over the ball, don't turn over the ball.
Yeah.
What happens?
You turn over the ball.
Exactly.
Every time.
And you don't score. And then they usually get some sort of a fast break layup.
Yeah.
Or three-pointer or whatever it is going the other way. And someone's angry because they've been giving up points and they foul them going in, for an easy layup. Mm-hmm. And then, I mean, I didn't get to see the first overtime. But, it went into second overtime, so it can't have been that entertaining. But, and then Little Rock, comes out with the victory. And honestly, they deserved it because... I don't even know if they deserved it, but Purdue definitely deserved to lose that game.
Yeah, the way they played, it was kind of... And for as good as they've been recently, it's pretty disappointing. An absolutely disappointing finish and performance from Purdue. But speaking of the fouls, Thomas, how about that UConn-Colorado game? And that Butler Texas Tech game I think the fouls were a problem in that as well.
It wasn't just those games. What other game was it? I feel like it was a little bit of a problem it was actually a massive problem in the Duke UNC game.
Duke UNC.
I was watching it, and even Chris Webber and whoever else it was that was commentating on the game. Like, you don't usually hear him say things like this, but it was like, that was a terrible call.
Yeah.
Like, why are they calling this way? Like, this is, I guess it's the the freedom of motion is, in quotations marks, is the rule.
Yeah, but then later it was weird because later then in the Yale Baylor game, Chris Webber they were also doing that game, the same group of commentators, and they were talking about at one point a Baylor player was driving to the hoop and a Yale guy got both hands on the ball, and the Baylor guy like tried to throw his arms up or whatever, fake foul, and they got the call right. It was a jump ball, and Chris Webber was like, started talking about how, well, that's the right call, and if you're a defender, you have a right to move with him. So I don't know what the rule is.
This has always been a point of contention for me with basketball. Is especially recently, since they wanted the all scoring thing. Mm-hmm. They like people scoring lots of points. They made it. It's the same thing in the NFL. They make it incredibly hard in the defense to play good, solid defense.
Yeah,
and I just don't. Like, you're allowed to move parallel.
Yeah, and you have to jump with them, or when like.
But you're not even allowed to jump with. If you jump with someone, then you're toast anyway.
Yeah, I know.
It's such a bizarre.
You have to be straight up.
Bizarre.
Most
rules.
of the time, even when they are straight up, it's still foul
you
call.
just can't leave your feet.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
Unless, of course, you're running straight at them and they're going towards a layup. And you run up and you just absolutely demolish them, but you get a clean block on the ball. Essentially, just tackle them with your body while grabbing the ball with your hand.
Nobody cares about the hip check that happened.
So that's I don't know. But if you had missed the ball, it would be a penalty.
Oh, absolutely. But that's the other thing is it's all about the big flashy plays.
Yeah, the big block or the big dunk or whatever it was. Exactly. There was who was it? The game today? It was like that exact situation. I think it was the Yale game actually. One of the Yale guys goes up for a dunk. One of the big white guys goes up for a dunk, and from the opposite side of the basket, one of the Baylor players comes and they get a completely clean block.
Yeah.
But the play ends with the Yale player on the ground and him standing over the Yale player. Like his body collided with the Yale player, knocked the Yale player to the ground. He was standing over him like he had just beat him in a gladiatorial fight. And I was just like, I don't understand how that's not a foul.
Yeah, no, it's hard. I think that maybe it just adds to the madness where we just never know the rules. It's like Calvin ball out there, just making it up as we go.
Yeah. So
let's.
I know this is going to be outdated by the time this podcast come out, but I want to get your opinions on.
You mean by tomorrow morning? It's going to be outdated?
Yes.
Okay.
Because right now, as we're recording this podcast, UNC is up by only 4 on FGCU with 2 minutes left in the first half.
Okay.
Do they have a chance?
They have a chance. FGCU is the only 16 seed this year that has a chance. FGCU is a pretty good team this year. Dunk City, bitch. Dunk City, bitch. Anyway, yeah, they're our hometown heroes here in Southwest Florida. And I'm definitely rooting for them, and I'd love to see the first 16 seed upset a 1 seed. But they have a chance. It's just very, very, very small, especially when you get to the end of games.
Yeah,
teams like North Carolina are just so much. There's so much more
experience in the close pressure games like that.
Exactly, and they just are able to execute so much more effectively and efficiently.
Not to mention second half adjustants. That was what happened with that Duke UNC game.
Yeah.
Or Duke UNC Wilmington, not to confuse them.
Yeah.
The Duke looked bad, and UNC Wilmington looked good in the first half, and they were pressuring him really well. And then Duke came. Coach K went into the
Coach K. It's hard to compete.
Went into the locker room and basically was like, Plumlee, Mr. Plumlee the third, because that's the third one, right?
Yeah, through Duke. Yeah, and
there's been a Plumlee. There's been a Plumlee there for the last 15 years.
Yeah, it's too bad that they're ending now.
he just went in there and he just they stopped calling fouls because Coach K probably gave him money, and then Plumlee just went up and
hey, that's what it takes to be a good coach.
Started ferociously just blocking people and hip-checking people and swatting people. And it was just kind of like, wait, what happened in that ticky-tack fouls that were going on earlier?
Well, this is probably.
But it was also Coach at the same time it was well played because he came out and he really dominated.
Yeah, this is probably what Coach K said. Like he goes into the half and he's like, Marshall, your two brothers are in the NBA right now, and they're energy guys. They're hustlers. They get rebounds. They get blocks. They're good rim defenders. No offensive game for either of them. Marshall's the worst of the three. And he says, Marshall, Mr. Plumlee III, if you want to be drafted or have a shot of making an NBA team, you need to show that you're like your brothers, and you're tough, and you're physical, and you can hustle and block some shots. And so I think he did it. And so now maybe Marshall, if he continues it all the way through the playoffs or through March Madness, he gets a shot at a second-round pick.
Yeah.
Maybe play in Portland or Milwaukee with his brothers.
Okay, so for the fantasy side of it, we obviously everyone listening to this or most people listening to this know we have a bracket. Yeah. And we actually got 18 people to sign up.
18! Cool. Wow, that's almost our regular viewership.
And it's still pretty close. Again, there's 4 brackets that are tied in first.
How's a DPV 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 doing?
What? That's they have the least possible points remaining.
Well, it's a good thing I didn't pick that bracket.
Yep. And so
that makes so much sense.
Our bracket is tied for first. We still have the most amount of points possible.
Wow.
Because the only one we've lost so far is Purdue, and we had them losing anyway in the next one.
Yeah.
Mark Cheffers, Colby Popick, and JP Cheffers also have the same.
JP,
my brother.
That's John.
My brother.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, my brother has the second least amount of possible points remaining, so he's probably out of it anyway, unless some really huge upsets happen. But I don't know. It's good to see so many people joining the bracket, and maybe I'd be excited about any of these people coming on the podcast with us talking about their
sharing
their bracket,
sharing a drink of your choice. If whoever wins this, we said we'd share a drink with you. You'd be a guest on the podcast. Here's a little thing I'd like to throw in there. It's the drink of your choice, and we will drink it, whatever you drink. But you have to drink it too. See, that's the thing.
The interesting part about this, though, is what do we have? We have 5 out of the 18 brackets have Michigan State as the winner. Only 2 Kansas,
which is
3
weird.
Kansas.
That's weird.
1 UVA, UNC, Arizona, and a couple Villanovas.
Yeah, and it's funny because...
And 1 Utah.
Wait, a couple Villanovas?
Yes. Yes, Mr. Dump Trump, or otherwise known as Sean Lee.
Oh, okay.
Has Villanova winning.
Really, Sean?
And Audino has it too.
Wow. I wonder if he's got some sort of mathematical equation that this somehow works out for him. But,
yeah, maybe.
I think we see Temple beating Villanova in the
That's what
round.
we predicted. Yes. So it's bound to happen.
Either they're not making it past the Elite Eight, and I would be very hesitant to say they'd even make it to the Sweet 16.
Yep. But it should be an interesting thing. There hasn't been anyone who's completely fallen off the bandwagon as of yet.
I guess so.
Mr. DPV 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is the closest, but they still have 1,680 possible points versus everyone else who's the most is 1,840.
Well, that's what happens when you pick teams based on which city you like the most.
Yeah.
So basically, oh shoot, what was I going to say? Oh, well, going along this Michigan State line, I noticed that in the other pool that we're in, Tom, with one of the Colbys, Colby Popick, a former and possibly future guest on the show again, he in his bracket there are 9 or 10 of us, and not a single one picked Kansas. I thought that was very interesting. There were like 5 or 6 Michigan State.
That is interesting because I don't remember particularly that bracket. I haven't looked at it.
They're clearly the best team in the country, but no one picked them.
I mean, how often does the number 1 overall seed win? I mean, probably often enough to pick them every time.
Yeah, how often does the number 2 overall seed win? How often does the number 4 overall seed win? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, they didn't. There's. It probably has to do with the fact that they're not like a Kentucky from 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Or
what about a Kentucky from this year?
I just honestly have no idea. I've not watched a single Kentucky game. But I mean, it's Kentucky.
It's Kentucky, man. There could be
Calipari
an 8
is
seed,
a great coach.
They could be a 16 seed, and they'll be the first 16 seed to make it to the Final Four. I mean, to win the game.
I mean, there's the coaches that like just continue to make it. You know, Calipari, Krzyzewski, I think has the record now for the most tournament wins with like 89 tournament wins. Tom Izzo is obviously great. It's too bad Louisville isn't in. They're actually a really good team.
Yeah, I know.
But that was actually interesting.
Rick Pitino forcing punishing his players for his mistake.
No.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right. Pitino didn't know anything about it.
Well,
he's the main recruiter for this program.
Yeah, but I don't know. Have you ever been on recruiting trips?
No, I never have.
Yeah, they're not.
But you have. You
were
recruited by one Villanova, was it?
Yeah.
For baseball?
Yeah.
What you guys don't know is that Thomas was a stud pitcher back in the day. Until he, tore his rotator cuff or something like that?
Tore my labrum.
Labrum, that's what it is.
And, I mean, the thing is, like, you go and meet the coach, but it's like the players and, like, you know, the assistant coaches who they hang out with basically try to take you to have as good a time as possible.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I could see it is in my mind a possibility that this was just, you know, there was some guy that was taking care of this,
sure,
for the most part. For those of you who don't know, he was like soliciting prostitutes or something,
basically for recruiting purposes. Yeah.
And I mean, if this is
come to Louisville, you can have all the prostitutes you want.
If this is, I mean, the thing about punishing the players for his fault, I mean, like,
especially
if this
seniors.
was going, but if this was going on, how many of those recruits, you know, took part in that and then came to Louisville because of that?
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know either, but you'd think if it was a big enough deal that they would get, you know, all this attention, that there would be some of them that maybe that would have happened to.
Yeah.
I mean, Louisville doesn't get scrubs.
Now, wait. So
they get great top 100 players.
Of course, Louisville's a great program, but I mean, I first need to see what recruiting rules look like. Like, if the kid's 18, why can't he solicit his own prostitute?
Because you're not allowed to solicit a prostitute.
Yeah,
at all.
Yeah, I understand. But I mean, at the same time, like...
Dude, you know what the NCAA is like?
NCAA?
I said that.
But it's okay.
We'll go back and look at this later.
There's good thing there's a recording now, and we have proof of my being correct. Anyway, whatever.
You know what they're like. They're a bunch of Nazis. They take so much advantage
and
of all these student athletes.
We're not trying to, you know.
I mean, this is another person that needs to go on our list of people that we're frustrated with.
NCAA?
Yeah, I mean, we have like ESPN, we have Drudge Report, we have the NFL, we have the NBA.
Yeah.
The NCAA definitely deserves to be on that.
We have the federal government. So basically just
FIFA.
massive organizations with a lot of power.
Yes.
We don't like.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I think I can get behind that.
Yeah, but I mean, the NCAA... I mean, there's always the debate about, you know, whether they should pay their athletes.
Unless it's Coors Light. Let's take Bud Light down together. Buy Coors. Anyway. Sorry, Tom, continue.
I mean, do you think they should be able to pay these players? If they're allowed to sell their jerseys, I'm not saying they pay them salaries.
I think they should be allowed to sell their
like
name.
Royalties.
Okay, so
the
number one example that I go back to is not even a jersey. Like a jersey, yeah, the school gives it to you, blah blah blah. But something like a national championship ring, like Terrell Pryor, and he sold his national championship ring for like $5,000 or something like that.
Or his signature.
Yeah, I'm not even talking about that. But or his signature. It's fine, but. And then he gets suspended for a year because he sold his national championship ring for $5,000 or whatever, just so he can, you know, buy food in the season during the season, like because he only gets 3 meals a day, and he's a football player and basically a professional athlete. Like, it doesn't really make sense to me in the slightest that they're not allowed to do this. I mean, it's his. He won that ring. It's his to do with as he pleases.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about it, like
it's his signature. It's his jersey.
If you're not an athlete,
yeah.
If you're just a college student, and you're taking, I don't know, accounting classes, and you use that, and you go get, an internship.
Yeah, that gets you a job at Ernst & Young when you graduate.
Yeah, but you get an internship and you get paid for it because you're doing work, and you're using the skills that they gave you and the platform that they gave you. I mean, it's not like you don't get paid and the university, gets to just collect on you. I see it in a similar way that if you have... Like, I'm not necessarily for like giving them stipends and stuff or salaries because of the way the scholarships can work enough that you can have all these things. But if you want to make extra money on the side, by having things of your there could be all these rules like you're not allowed to have like the school logo on it or something, like we're not going to endorse whatever stuff like that. But like selling, like who was it Jameis? No, it was Pryor. I think that was selling. Or trading his signatures for like tattoos or something.
And Jamarcus Russell did that, I believe.
Yeah, and this is for some reason a big deal.
Yeah.
How do we get on this topic? Because we hate the NCAA.
Yeah, and like Manziel selling his jersey. I mean, it says Texas A&M on it, but Manziel, he's there. They're letting him attend their school. Like he's a representative of their school. Why can't he sell a Texas A&M jersey with his name on it? I don't understand that. He just signs it,
or not even him selling it. How about
$200?
If they're selling those jerseys, how about he gets like a 5% royalty on his number while he's there or something?
Exactly.
Like if he's gonna make your school enough money by selling his number jersey, because I don't remember what number he was in college, but they show up during his time and they buy the jersey with his number. Yeah, probably one. Like they're doing it for Manziel. They're not doing it for A&M.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't make any sense to me.
And the NCAA is so greedy.
And that's exactly what it comes down to. Is this huge amount of greed that's in the NCAA because they make just a shit ton of money off these guys and these basically professional athletes, and they fill up these arenas and they fill up these stadiums and they sell all these jerseys and all this merchandise with the kids' names on it, and the kids don't see a dime. It's kind of wrong.
They got an education.
Yeah, where we gave you a free education. Well, no, they didn't really get an education because all they have to they're waking up at 5 a.m. every morning and playing football all day, and going to class and then playing football all day. Like 2-a-day workouts and practice, and they're waking up at 5 a.m. and they have to eat. they don't have as much time as regular students to invest into.
Yeah, they're not a full-time student.
Exactly.
Not even they're barely part-time.
Yeah, and a lot of the time it's not their fault. They just have their entire life is wrapped up in football.
Because the the school wants to sell tickets. The NCAA wants to
they have to put a good product out on the field.
Like I mean if they actually wanted to free education, actually wanted to give them an education, they wouldn't.
I mean, think of the amount of the amount of money that Michigan football makes. And then, well, first you've got this coach. To take Alabama, or even Michigan. You got Jim Harbaugh. You got Jim Harbaugh at Michigan, and you've got Nick Saban at Alabama, and they're both making $7 million as a coach per year, and none of their players get to see a dime. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Yep. I mean, we're both in agreement. I forget how we get on this.
Well, the NCAA sucks.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think most of our maybe I actually don't know this. It's kind of a hot button issue. Yeah. I'm not sure how many people would actually.
What's the
agree
hot
with
question, Tom? Give me the hot question. This is something that's been said on the podcast before. That's why I'm bringing it back up again. Tom, what's the hot question? Or whatever. just ask. What's the question, Tom? What do you have to say?
I mean, is what we're saying correct? I mean, are we just completely overlooking something here? Or it's like the NCAA offers something else to everybody? Would it set a bad precedent? Like, I'm sure there has to be other arguments other than the NCAA just wants more money. or the fake, free education. There's got to be something.
No,
I've never heard of it.
Be something. There doesn't have to be, so there could be something. I don't think there has to be another reason.
I mean, do they really just hide behind we're giving them free education?
I mean, that's
bullshit.
That's pretty that's the biggest argument, the most popular argument that I've always heard.
And I mean, it's not even like maybe for a lot of the students out there, if you're going to, I don't know, Little Rock, Arkansas for field hockey.
Yeah.
You're not going to sell any jerseys. You're not going to get any money. The scholarship will be like fair compensation for you.
You're not. I don't think you're working necessarily as much either on your field hockey at Little Rock.
I mean,
Arkansas.
you may be.
You may be.
But I mean, like, they're not necessarily making like money off of you.
Yeah.
Like maybe some ticket sales,
true.
but that's probably just enough to like pay for,
your scholarship,
your scholarship upkeep of the fields and equipment and stuff like that.
But when you're talking about NCAA football or basketball, and they're bringing in millions upon millions of dollars for their school every year, and not all of that is going, a percentage of that is going to the coach, a percentage of that is going to the stadium and field upkeep, a percentage of that is going to uniforms and coach all the coaching staff and everything that has to do with it. But the majority of it is just going right back to the school and to the NCAA.
Yeah. And, I mean, it's an added problem, just the fact that, tuition is just so damn high. Mm-hmm. It's just inflated so much. The amount of, the fact that it costs like $60,000 a year to go to school at like these private schools nowadays.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like, I forget what the numbers for, I think it's around 60 for Notre Dame nowadays.
I think it might be a little more.
Around 60.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think when my sister went to school there, it was like 40. No, that includes room.
Oh, okay.
And it was like 40.
Yeah.
Like 15 years ago. Like, it should not have had a 50% increase.
When my dad was he was at Harvard back in the late 70s, early 80s. It was like $6,000 a year.
Yeah. And
now, it's 12 times that. It's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, it's just basically, like, I don't know, is it a ruse to try to keep people from going to college so that the...
Well, it's not keeping people from going to college.
I mean, that's what I'm...
drowning in debt.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, but I don't buy the whole... I'm drowning in debt.
Okay,
like,
nobody's... Well, a lot of people are drowning, but I mean, because they can't find jobs
the only
after school. But
the only reason that's true is because, like, there are people out there who completely screw the people that loan them money. Like,
sure.
Like,
I'm not saying. I'm not disagreeing.
I was one of my previous coworkers. He went. He was talking about his brother with me, and he went to Penn State or something. And he came out with $100,000 in debt, and he had his parents co-sign the loan with him or whatever it's called. And after he got out of school, he just went, nope, I'm not paying it anymore. I'm not going to pay any of it. I'm just going to let the government forgive me for my debt. And of course they haven't yet. And this was probably 5 years ago. So his two parents have been sitting there paying off his $100,000 debt. And he sits on their couch all day and refuses to pay it. And there's nothing they can really do about it, except pay it because they co-signed for it.
Yeah, it's a huge problem. I mean, it's bad for the student. It's bad for the families. It's bad for middle-class Americans everywhere.
College, man. All right, so I think we've talked enough about this. Well, obviously the tournament is still ongoing, and will be going on tomorrow, the first round, which is pretty exciting.
Yeah.
And then Saturday and Sunday, I believe, the next round. It's like Saturday and Sunday, right?
Next round? I think it starts Thursday, right?
No, I think it's this weekend, bro.
Oh, this weekend. Yeah. I thought you were talking for some reason.
So, I mean, by the time we record our next podcast, it'll be the end of the second round.
We'll have our Sweet 16 matchups.
Which is going to be pretty exciting. We'll be able to give you guys some sweet updates and talk more about it, because we're going to just spend the entire weekend watching this.
It's going to be literally just watching games. That's why I love
just to bring you guys, the insight you need, just in case you can't do the same thing.
Exactly.
Or just to bro out with you if you end up doing the same thing anyway.
Mm-hmm. Hey.
So, I think we should jump right into one of our favorite segments nowadays. I think.
Yeah.
I really like this segment. The positive spin zone.
Positive spin zone.
The positive spin zone.
For some reason, our
zone.
Put a little Axl Rose flair on it.
Exactly. All right, Daniel. I don't remember what you were going to give me, so I'll go first, so I have time to think.
Oh gosh, wait. I still don't know how to switch.
Again, this guy, you take negative news and you got to find the silver lining in it. So, the article I found is kind of a strange.
Yeah.
But it's studies show that young people prefer an internet connection to daylight.
Well, Tom, this is just so exciting to me. As somebody who...
Do you prefer an internet connection to daylight?
As somebody who prefers daylight much more to an internet connection. I mean, especially having come down here to Florida for the past 2 weeks or so, and just seeing that daylight still exists, coming back from up north and being like, oh my gosh, the sun. It's been wonderful. It's just been so good for me. Anyway, I'm excited about this because this means innovation, and nothing gets me more excited about things than innovation. Except for daylight. That's the only thing that gets me more excited than innovation. But basically what this means, Tom, is that since it's the coveted millennial young person demographic, everyone's going to be trying to appeal and to pander to these young people because they're going to be the ones buying products soon. And it means that we'll have created daylight on our screens. Soon, you will have real sunlight projecting out of your computer monitor and cell phone.
Just get some tan going on.
Exactly. Real UV rays.
Oh, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. I don't feel like going to bed yet. Let me just catch some rays.
Exactly.
Work on my tan a little bit.
And then with that comes all the, bed holders where you can
like
put your
selfie
phone.
Stick kind of.
Yeah, it was kind of
thing.
a selfie stick, but you've got your own tanning bed in your bed. This is the most exciting development I've heard in years.
We should just get rid of the sun.
No, we need to harvest the sun.
I'm sure we can find a way to artificially do it. Whatever.
No, I'm talking real sunlight. Stolen from the sun and stored in your phone case.
But would you need an internet connection to get that sunlight?
No. Well, yeah, probably. No. If it's stored in your phone, you can probably just emit it.
All right. Well, that's fair.
Yeah.
I like the innovation angle.
Yeah. I think it's a good thing. America needs some more innovation. Like the tech boom of the 90s.
I mean, I could get behind that.
Yeah. All right, Thomas. Well, I've got one for you.
I don't remember what it was.
It's a little fun. It's a fun one. Please spin for me into something positive. The fact that The Big Bang Theory is the most popular comedy in the United States and has been for 4 straight years.
All right.
How has this happened?
I've never seen The Big Bang Theory.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Neither have I.
Okay.
I just see those terrible plugs on CBS when I'm watching
football. Yeah. Or on the radio even.
Gosh. And you're like, and then the laugh track comes and you're like, that wasn't funny. That was so dumb.
Okay.
Anyway, the most popular comedy in the country.
Okay, so here is the silver lining.
Yes.
That I see.
Yeah.
Number 1.
Mm-hmm.
It's a show about nerds and not intellectual, but like scientifically intellectual things.
Yeah.
Where they manage to spin it into jokes. So they're unwittingly, the masses are unwittingly taking knowledge about important things upon themselves.
But are they really if they don't understand it?
I'm sure that as long as they get something out of it.
They could get something out of it.
I mean, they usually dumb it down anyway.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
They mention things like, the theory of,
everything.
String theory. Anyway, all right. That's the first thing. The only thing that popped in my head right away. The second thing is that it is a very playful, not dark humor, which, given the recent trend in the shows that have been coming around, the Breaking Bads and the Daredevil, and it's just like the main character has like a kind of a dark side.
Oh yeah.
And people really like that, and it intrigues them, and they love to watch that. It might make you think that, the kind of really dark humor would be something that would be more popular as well. Just like people finding just really terrible things funny.
Yeah.
But, Big Bang Theory is it's a sitcom.
Yeah.
And, maybe there is some hope that, everyone's just not becoming a psychopath who's ready to kill people.
That's fair.
In order to create meth.
I'm alright with that answer. I think that's a pretty positive spin.
Alright.
My only one thing would just be, I think the psychopaths are the ones watching The Big Bang Theory.
That may be true.
Oh, man.
So, Daniel.
Looking at the
Running out of time here. We got a party to catch. Actually,
we got
at the end of
a big old St.
Patty's Day. This is our devotion to you guys.
Yeah,
all you bro chatters.
We have foregone drinking before we go out drinking, so that we can deliver you this podcast, and we've left a couple of our friends in the other room ignored.
Came all the way out here just to see us, but
yeah.
I'm okay with it because they'll listen to it anyway. So it'll be like we're paying it forward time spent with them.
Exactly. They'll have a solid 45 minutes with us tomorrow. Well, Tom, I've got one question.
Oh yeah, the questions submitted. I like these. The ones that tell us about ourselves.
Questions from the people. This one comes from one C Popic 10. Popic, I think that's how you pronounce it. And his question is, if your apartment or home was on fire and you could only save one item, what would you save?
Like right now?
Right now. For good measure, I would save you.
Well, I would have... It's not a real answer. Of course we could both walk out the door.
I'm kidding.
I would save the whiskey. The Jameson that I just bought.
Okay.
Because it's going to be a really, really shitty day. And maybe the whiskey will help.
And it is St. Patrick's Day. So I'll save the Baileys. And then John, who's in the other room, can save the Guinness. And we'll have a good time.
We'll have a good
grand old time.
Watching our apartment burn.
Say, well, just time to move again.
You know what would... I bet the podcast people would have...
They're just possessions.
Our listeners would probably have me save this computer, and you would save the mic, so that we continue to do the bro chat. That's another one.
Continue to do the bro chat.
Maybe Annie's in there and John's in there. They can save the laptop and the...
Yeah. They don't have anything in here that they care about.
No. You got everything important.
Yeah, exactly.
And we can even...
Oh, what about the Wii and Mario Kart?
No.
It's not worth it?
We'll have a nice big bonfire. We'll have booze and we'll have a podcast.
You're right. It'll be fun. We'll have a live podcast of the bonfire. By the bonfire. We'll call it Fireside Chats with Tom and Dan.
Fireside car bomb chats.
Ooh.
All right. Any further questions from the people? Or is that our one quota for the day? We only like to do one of these because we'll just put it at the end, let everyone get to know us a little better. Even though the people that listen know us pretty well as it is, but you never know.
There is one more, and it's from one M. Watkins, 1991. And he says, he asks, what's one thing on your bucket list? He doesn't want the whole bucket list. He just wants one thing.
Just one random thing on my bucket list.
One thing on your bucket list. I mean, he's only asking for one, so make it something good, right?
Yeah. I would go on... I just want to have one show where I sit in the studio with Mark Levin.
Oh, my word. You just sit there, you don't talk?
Well, I would love to talk too, but
if you're on your bucket list, like you sit there and you're a guest
sit there
for
and
like
I have
2 hours.
a guest,
Oh my gosh.
with Mark Levin.
He would love you too, because you're a young, true
blue conservative.
True blue conservative, yeah. Oh my word.
And you, Daniel?
Well, that's something that I've wanted to do since I was like 15 or 16. Actually, I want to take all my best bros, and I want to hop in an RV, like a nice big RV, and road trip to the Grand Canyon, and then kayak through it with all your bros and lots of beer, probably.
What about why kayak? Why not get like the tubes?
We could get tubes. Well, we could lazy river it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so little water left in that river anyway that I mean, it's already lazy enough. But I mean, we could lazy river it. That would be fun. I mean, yeah. Plus, that would be the farthest. I guess I went to Denver this past summer, and that's the only time I've ever been out west anywhere. So I'd like to just go out west at some point.
Nice. Well,
yeah.
That about does it for us, guys. Have a happy. I hope you had, by the time this comes out, I hope you had a happy and fun St. Patty's Day party and or
stay
drinks
safe.
and
stay
or
safe,
dinner,
guys.
whatever.
Don't drink and drive.
Hopefully, everyone can listen to this. Because you're not in jail or something. If you are in jail, just listen to it a couple days later when you get out. And we love you, Colby.
We love you, Colby.
Keep listening to us, Colby.
We hope we enjoy making your school, work, or baby day better. Oh my gosh, work, school, or baby day better. Or no, wait!
That was the worst rendition of that.
Sorry.
What just happened? You were looking at your phone and
I blanked!
We enjoy making your work, school, or baby day
that much more enjoyable.
Alright, guys. Take it easy.
Peace.